This is the Songwriter Connection, the award-winning elite music podcast of the year, connecting the songs and the people who write them. Welcome, songwriters, friends of the song, and fans of great music. Pull up a chair around the dining room table. From his home in Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, songwriter and storyteller, Dave Linehan.
We've got the coffee out, so just grab yourself a cup of coffee. And thank you for joining us. We've got an amazing guest today that I just can't wait for you to make the connection with. I really can't. You are going to love her story. She has done so much. Here's a little bit of one of her. Hey, it's right. Of her latest songs.
I'm like chasing lightning.
Oh, yeah. I got a feeling it's a little autobiographical, isn't it?
Yeah,
our guest is
sure.
Lauren Lucas, and you seem like that kind of person.
Yeah, I think I have coffee in my veins. This is like my fourth cup today.
Awesome.
But I'm not complaining. Yeah, truly it is.
You go for it, don't you? You go, girl.
I do. You know, I think I've always been that way to an extent, but I will say becoming a mom, which I did right at the very beginning of COVID, I really do credit it for the success I'm having in this season of my career because it has focused me in a way like never before. Because it's like, okay, I'm organizing this whole other human being's life. I'm putting my family first. That's important to me. That's my priority. And I refuse to lose myself and to lay down the dreams I have. I have a career. I love what I do. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I have goals I want to reach. And it's like, well, then, I mean, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, you do.
There's only so much time in a day. You got to figure it out.
That's one of the things I want to ask you. How do you, I mean, you're raising this child, you're putting family first, and you're so darn busy. Where do you find time to even write?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I will say in the last several years, I've gotten very good at batching my work and really focusing my schedule. So only certain days I do certain things. So I'm not too scattered. And also I've started to realize I can really only do things seasonally. Yeah. So like right now we're composing for Leanne on Netflix. And so we'll do that through early May.
We're going to talk about that. You better believe it.
And then that gives me like the summer, of course, then summer schedules, for any parents out there. Yeah. That's like a whole other thing. But for summer, then I can switch to more co-writing, although I am still doing a lot of writing now, but then I'll really, hit the gas on the co-writing and getting music together for next year's releases. And, so I kind of batch it in seasons.
Yeah, I get you. I get it. Makes sense.
It's the only way that I can find, at least.
Now, your story's incredible. I'm just going to kind of highlight it, okay? And correct me if I'm wrong with any of this. So you started, you've been in the business for a long time. You started professionally at the age of 3.
Well, I guess technically 6 is when I earned my first check. Okay. I played Santa Claus. I was the voice of Santa Claus.
Wow, you were?
I was an alto even back then. What can I say?
Alto Santa. By age 12, you're playing in the opera, you're doing cool things. And 14, you've got your first pub deal with Sony Tree, right? Oh, my God.
Right.
That's where all the big guys were. And then you're shopping record deals, and you get signed, you're just off and running. And you've had a lot of success through Sync. You talked about Leanne, which is the new Leanne Morgan show on Netflix, which is hilarious with some big stars. Yeah. That's you singing the theme song, huh?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Such a thrill. Like, truly career highlight.
And your work with Keb Mo?
Yeah.
Amazing. You've done so much.
Well, thank you. This season has been incredibly fun. Just the season of life, the season of music. Mm-hmm. I feel really lucky and grateful for all of it.
Absolutely. I remember reading one time you said that, you had a developmental deal. You signed your record deal. And it didn't quite work out, but you learned a lot. And you consider that now as a blessing.
Yeah, well, so I ended up signing a development deal when I was a teenager with RCA, and then that didn't work out. But simultaneously, I was doing an off-Broadway show that was a country music
Yeah. Urban Cowboy, right?
Well, it was before that. It was an original show. It was called Take This Show and Shove It. And I moved to Houston for 3 months. And I was still in high school. So I was doing like tutoring, schooling out there and doing the show. But it was the director that then of that show that adapted Urban Cowboy years later for Broadway. And then he ended up calling me to see if I would write a song for that show.
Weren't you invited to play Sissy?
Yes. Wow, you really have done a deep dive. Yes, that's true. He called when he was first adapting the show for Broadway, Urban Cowboy for Broadway. He called and said, "Hey, would you come to New York for like a week or so, I think it was, and do the reading workshop of the first pass of this thing." And so I didn't know much about how that worked. My parents flew me to New York. They came with me, and basically you're holding the script in your hand. And I was cast as Sissy, which was the Deborah Winger role, that lead role. Yeah. And so, we're holding the scripts and we're going through rehearsals and even the performance. You hold the script, and they had popular country music of the time plugged into where the music would go, just to kind of give people an idea of the flow of the show.
Right.
And I guess like they invite all the top brass of Broadway to come in and kind of just get a feel of like, hey, here's what we're adapting. Here's how we're building this thing, just to kind of lay the groundwork for when they're ready to really sell it and try to get it to Broadway. Yeah. And so I did that workshop. And then several years later, they went on to the next step and kept developing it. And then they were finally ready to put original music. And so they had some composers writing things for the show. They also came to Nashville and looked for already existing country songs that were not hits, that were just, from publishers' catalogs, and put those in. Yeah. And there was this one scene, they could not find a song. It was real specific. It was the, if you're familiar with the movie, it's when the John Travolta character gets seduced by a rich cowgirl.
I remember that.
And so that's the song I wrote, was the seduction song with my friends Sarah Light and Danny Arena.
And that got nominated for a Tony, huh?
It did, yes. So, yes, all of the writers and composers were nominated for Best Score on, it was amazing.
You're also nominated for an ACM award. So, Tony to ACMs, I mean, you're really doing it all.
It's pretty wild. I grew up doing musical theater. And I also grew up listening to country radio.
Did you?
My grandma would pick me up from school and take care of me afterwards. Country, and she always had country on. Yeah. And it's wild how several times in my career, musical theater and country music have intersected.
Isn't that something?
It's just, I don't know.
Mix those two passions.
Yeah.
Now you tell a story about the age of 3. And your first performance. Yeah. Will you tell us that? That is just adorable.
Oh, well,
Do you remember this at age 3?
I don't, but it's like emotional memory in a way, because I've heard the story so much. My mom has told me, over the years. But my sister, she's 10 years older than I am, and she was apparently doing musical theater, at that point. And so she,
Columbia, South Carolina.
That's right.
Okay.
Grew up in Columbia, and she wanted to audition for this musical revue called Showstoppers at Town Theater in Columbia, and my mom took me with her to the auditions. And so we're sitting there in the auditorium. My sister goes up to audition. I see all these other kids getting up on stage and singing and dancing and auditioning. And apparently I turned to my mom and said, well, I want to do it. And I didn't have a song prepared. So I got on stage and I recited the Mother Goose poem. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid. And I don't know. I guess
at 3 years old, I could just picture that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was a very precocious child, and so I guess that paid off for musical theater.
So you got in that show at 3.
I got in the show, and really that started everything. I mean, I just took to the stage, to performance, to the connection with the audience. I mean, I got to wear makeup when I was little. I got to wear costumes and pretend to be someone else. I mean, it just lit up my imagination, and I just got bit by the bug.
You did. From the age of 3.
At the age of 3.
And by 6, you're being paid to be Santa Claus.
Yeah. Can I tell you the wildest story?
Please.
So, yes, when I was 6, the music director for this show that I got in. This was a show that happened every summer. They would choose new songs, and it wasn't musical theater songs. It was popular music from like the 40s up through what was in the 80s. Yeah. And it was patriotic songs, country songs, golden oldies, children's numbers, Sesame Street. It was age 3, I was the youngest, all the way up to people in their 70s. And it was just this big musical review. Happened every summer. So the same musical director was a part of it every year. And so he knew me now for 3, 4, 5 years. And when I was 6 years old, he wrote an original animated Christmas series called Milo the Moose. And it was for ETV, Educational Television in Columbia, South Carolina. And I think that's what it was called. ETV? Yeah.
Okay.
And so at any rate, that happens. I get my first paycheck to be Santa Claus. I sang a song of Santa Claus. And when I grow up and go to Belmont for college, I am sitting in my dorm room my freshman year around the holidays, and I turn on the television. And I call my mom. I'm like, you are not going to believe what I am watching on television in Nashville, Tennessee. It is me singing at 6 years old, the Santa Claus. It is Milo the Moose.
Wow.
I don't know how it got, to now. I don't know, if they sold it to another PBS affiliate or something. But anyway, I was watching it.
And I'm
Nashville.
sure you had residuals from that, right?
Yeah.
Right, tons.
Paid for Belmont, right? No,
Isn't
I'm
that
kidding.
amazing? That is really great.
Truly, totally wild.
And you've come full circle. You went to Belmont and everything, and then now you teach songwriting a bit.
I do, yeah. I went back several years ago, just after COVID, and I'm adjunct, so I'm teaching commercial songwriting there.
That's great.
As an adjunct, and it's fun. It's a fun thing to go back to my alma mater and feel like I'm giving back to the new generation.
Yeah. Where do you start in teaching songwriting? You got kids. First of all, these kids, these young adults,
sure,
they have to have talent because they audition to get into Belmont.
That's right.
And so they've got a certain amount of ability to start with, and then you got to mold and hone the craft, right? Where do you start with something like that?
So oftentimes I'm teaching either Songwriting 1, which is like the technical nitty-gritty foundations of songwriting. So everything from how do you beat writer's block to bust through that, to rhyme schemes and line lengths and introduction to melody and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And so that's kind of the nitty-gritty structure. Yep, that as well.
Which we know is now verse, chorus, verse, lunch.
Right.
Bridge, chorus, something like that.
That's right. That's right. And then I also, from time to time, I'll teach Songwriting 2, which is more of like, okay, now that we know the technical stuff, how do we really focus that and turn it into inspiration?
Right.
So, and then I also mentor some seniors, which is so rewarding.
Oh, I'll bet that is.
And they really lead the way with that. It's students who are almost ready to graduate and they're wanting to release their own music or get a publishing deal or whatever it is. And so they really lead the train. There's no curriculum. They bring in whatever questions they have, and I just try to guide them and help them the best I can. Well,
and you certainly have the experience in the past to guide them. What would be the most, somebody 18 years old comes to you and, I want to do it all. I want to be a star. I want to run a record deal. I want the whole thing. What kind of advice do you give them? What do you say?
And that really is what the students want. And Belmont, they are really picky about who they invite to come teach because they really want people who are currently doing it. Not people who kind of in theory know how it's done, but every single faculty member and staff, I mean, we are writing every week. We are getting cuts. We are having hits. We are, we're doing it.
Yep.
And so that is really the thing the students want to know is not like, okay, what is the strongest rhyme here? They want to know, like, how do I do this business,
Yeah.
And I will say probably the thing that most students are missing and the thing I try to guide them on the most is the importance of building relationships.
Exactly.
They're so scared of networking, which I get because it can feel so icky if you really look at it in a networky way. But what I try to impress upon them is you're really just building a relationship and throw expectations out the window. That anything is supposed to, quote, happen the night you meet someone. Right. That's just planting the seed.
Absolutely.
And it might take, I'll give you an example. I didn't even know the seed was being planted 30 years ago, but it has taken 30 years of watering relationships that I didn't even realize I was watering all the time before I met one of my musical heroes, which is Keb Mo, and got a chance to not only work with him, but then become friends. And I kind of forced him into being my mentor. And now we're composing the music for Leanne together, and I'm writing for his next record. And it's like, that was 30 years in the making. You never know what seed you're planting and what's happening. He was one of your heroes
too, right?
He really was and is still.
I've seen you describe your music as Southern soul. Mm-hmm. So you've had some of that soul and blues, and you've mixed all the genres. You've done all the genres. And I think that's been a big plus for you, huh?
You know, it's turning out that way. I will say that was kind of a sticking point, I feel like, in my 20s when I did have a record deal at Warner, and then even post-record deal, trying to find my way musically in Nashville. Of course, back then, we're talking early 2000s, and in the 90s and early 2000s, there wasn't as much of a variety of genres here. You know, it was country and Christian music, period, for the most part. Now there's a whole, variety of this really is Music City. It really is.
And I always tell people that it's Music City. It's not just country music.
That's right.
So,
but back then it still was mostly country and Christian music.
Country and Christian.
Yeah. And so I will say, like, being multi-genre and kind of living in the gray area of genres stylistically did not feel like a blessing then. It felt very confusing to the industry, who's much more about how do we market this and what box do we put you in. And I understand that. I'm not, there's no bitterness there at all about that.
Right. But that's for marketing purposes. We always say on this podcast, don't lock yourself into a genre, be your own genre. This is what I always preach. Yeah. That's for the executives to figure out how to market you, but be your own thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on what path you want. Like if someone really wants to be the Ella Langley, or whatever, the next Lainey Wilson or the next Kenny Chesney. I mean, you might want to consider your branding and how, help the executives market you, because that's really what they're looking for now. They want you to just bring it to them. Right.
Oh, wow. They want the package already complete.
Yes.
Bow on top, the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. But today, I mean, I'm not chasing radio. I'm not chasing a record deal. I'm writing with a lot. I'm chasing lightning, man. Hello. I'm making it happen. And so, I mean, especially with a focus in sync and TV and film music, I mean, you can kind of be genreless.
Yes.
You can blur the lines. It's fine. There's a place for all of it. And I will say one benefit of streaming, and that's, of course, a double-edged sword, but one of the benefits of it, I think, is it really has shaped how the consumer sees music and enjoys it less in a genre way, but more in a mood or a playlist way. Yeah. And so a lot of things fit on a playlist these days, and so there you can be a little more varied depending on the kind of career you want.
I gotcha.
I think that's maybe an opinion, but I think it's based on
I agree, 100%.
Patterns, and data.
100%. We are known for music around the dining room table. And you brought your beautiful Taylor guitar.
Oh, yeah.
So will you play something for us live?
I would love to.
Yeah, live around the dining room table. You were talking, before we were on the air, we were talking about how cool it is to hear the songs that the songwriters wrote, hear them do it. It brings a whole new life to that song. We were talking about Tom Douglas.
Yeah.
And when you hear him singing one of his songs that maybe it was a big hit you've heard on the radio a whole lot of time, but when he does it, when the songwriter does it, takes on this different meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was telling you when I walked in, I was listening to your episode with Tom Douglas about a month ago when I was in LA there for work, and I was just driving down the interstate, and I have heard, the song Little Rock. I mean, I grew up listening to Colin Ray. Like I've known that song since I was young, and I've heard it a million times. But to hear him do his version on your podcast, I mean, I truly was like bawling as I was driving down the interstate. It just hit me in a way I did not expect. And even after all these years, even after knowing it, it really was special.
It's really something. Well, tell us the story behind the song you're going to play for us. And what are you going to play? Mm-hmm.
Well, we were just talking about genre bending, and this was a song. So I did make a record for Warner Brothers, a country record, and made the complete record. It was paid for, made, ready to go. They put me on a radio tour. They released 2 songs from it. And then the regime changed at the top. And so the guy that signed me was no longer the guy that was kind of in charge, which is such a common story. And so
it sucks, but you're right.
Yeah. And so, I stayed on the label for a few more years. They cleaned house. They completely rolled over a new staff there for the most part. And, I went in and cut some more songs trying to get everybody on board, but that didn't really work. And so finally, after a few years of just floundering, I ended up leaving the label. And I thought, I'm not an artist because I have a record deal. That doesn't validate me as an artist. I'm an artist because this is what I do. That's what I love. And so...
That's so true. Right, spot on.
Well, it was important to me to continue to make music and to make it sooner than later and show like, hey, Nashville and fans that I had already started to gain through radio tour and that stuff. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to make more music. And so I made an EP called If I Was Your Girl. And this is the title track off of that. And this was I don't know that I really intentionally singled anything, but I will say this song caught the attention of Jerry House.
Oh my God.
If you remember Jerry.
DJ.
Yes, DJ.
Who's
Hall
also
of
a hit
Famer.
songwriter.
He was. And he and I, so at the time, he and I had not written yet, but we ended up writing.
Wow.
But we formed a relationship after I went through his morning show when I was at Warner, and he would play my single there. And then when I made this EP, I remember meeting him at a Brad Paisley #1 party at an Apple store that no longer exists for the Interstate 65 here. And I remember I was so nervous to walk up to him and say hello because I hadn't seen him in a year or so. And, anyway, I was just nervous. But I said hello, and he was like, I'm so glad you said hi. And I ended up giving him a copy of this EP when I made it. And he started playing this song on the radio, on his radio show, just out of his good nature, just doing it. This was the song he gravitated towards. And when he announced the end of his radio show and he was retiring, it was December is when he was stopping. And one of his last guests, in-studio guest, was Lady A. Oh, wow. And I don't know if you remember, but he would have his in-studio guest make the very last request of the show. And Charles Kelly requested to hear this song. I don't even know how Charles knew this song other than hearing Jerry play it.
Jerry's show, yeah.
But it was such a thrill.
Oh,
so
my.
Anyway, I know you asked, what song are you playing? And then I just talked for an hour.
No, I love it. But is there a story about how you came about writing? Who did you write it with? And
yes.
The mechanics of that.
So yes, I wrote this song with Derek George. Derek and I have lots of songs in my catalog. He's such a talented guy. Yeah. And of course, listeners, his hits.
Tell us.
Darius Rucker and all Scotty McCreery. Just on and on and on.
Yeah.
But at any rate, at this point, again, I was like, okay, I know I was a little maybe too soulful, bluesy for country for Warner to kind of get behind. What if we leaned into that and thought about like if Alicia Keys made a country record, what would that sound like? Ooh. And that was kind of the impetus for this song. Yeah. So
first time I heard it, it just blew me away.
Oh, thank you.
To hear you do it live is going to be a treat.
Well, thanks. Here it is.
Lauren
If
Lucas,
I Was Your Girl.
Our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast, live around the dining room table.
It'd be easier on you if she wasn't so hard to please. If she treated you right, you wouldn't have to cry to me. If you didn't want her so bad, if you only knew what I wouldn't give to be in her shoes. If I was your girl, if I was your lover, if I was the one on your mind and under your covers, there wouldn't be any doubt about it. I would make you my world if I was your girl. If I'd known you first, you wouldn't have to hurt to show you how good real love could be. 'Cause you deserve better. Boy, can't you see? If I was your girl, if I was your lover, if I was the one on your mind, and under your covers, there wouldn't be any doubt about it. I would make you my world. Oh, if I was your girl, I would hold you in my arms, but I never hold you back. And if she ever lets you go, just know that if I was your girl, if I was your lover, if I was the one on your mind and under your covers, there wouldn't be any doubt about it. I would make you my world. If I was your girl, I'd make you my whole wide world. If I was your girl, oh, if I was your girl, I would make you my whole world. Do-do-do-do. I was your girl. Ooh.
Do it again, Mommy. Oh my God, what a great song. And
Thank you.
That's a little bit more than 3 chords and the truth right there.
Oh,
For a lot of those minors and different things.
yeah. Hey, that's Derek. That's Derek.
It's
Yeah.
it's just fantastic.
Thank you.
Great song, great voice.
Thank you.
Just absolutely amazing. Now, your son, you said, is 5? 5 years
Oh,
old?
well, he'll be 6 on Tuesday.
How old is he? I mean, he's 6, going to be 6 Tuesday?
Yes.
What's his name?
His name's Reed.
Hi, Reed.
Yeah.
Man, your mommy is so amazing. She's just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Fantastic. We're going to take a little break. We come back, we're going to delve a little deeper into the career of Lauren Lucas, and we're going to listen to her new song, too. So don't go away.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection with Dave Linehan. Find us on Facebook and YouTube at the Songwriter Connection Podcast. And find Dave at thedaveconnection.com. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Welcome. I'm so glad that you've joined us today. Lauren Lucas is our guest. She's absolutely amazing. Before we get back with Lauren, I want to just tell you once again, if you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That does help, even though we're not a video podcast, except for the times that we do live at the local. But it does help us. So if you would do that. And also check out our Spotify playlist. It's Songwriter Connection, the songs. In case you don't know, it's every Wednesday morning that we publish a new episode. We make a new connection. And on that day, I put up a couple of songs from that day's guest. So stream it. You'll love some of the great songs, including The House That Built Me from Tom Douglas, Lauren Lucas is our guest. Lauren, your story is absolutely amazing. Tell me about your first trip to Nashville from South Carolina. What brought you here?
Oh, gosh.
How did that happen?
So I first came to Nashville for the Grand Ole Opry.
For the Grand Ole Opry?
Yeah.
You're like 12?
I was 12.
Oh, my God.
I know. It's a little bit wild. I know. Well, so it was...
Standing in the circle at 12.
I know.
Can you imagine Ashton's publicity?
Yeah.
Ashton's over here. I mean, really.
Well, so I was singing a lot in Columbia, where I grew up, and doing festivals and pageants and karaoke tape singing,
Wow.
anywhere. And someone introduced my parents to someone who knew someone else in Nashville who ended up
networking, right?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Who knew Jimmy and Dottie Snow. And Reverend Jimmy Snow, he led the Grand Ole Gospel Hour on the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
And that is the show I sang on. And so I came to Nashville and sang one day at a time. And I was invited back 2 years later and sang again. And then at that point, or close to it, it was about the time Sony ATV Tree at the time, as it was called.
Yeah.
Sony Publishing caught wind of me again through someone that introduced my parents to someone. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I had already formed a cover band back home in Columbia.
Wow.
My dad learned how to do live sound, so that he could accompany me into bars because I was 14. And then he ended up kind of doing that as a side business. He had a partner named Byron that they, would go around and do sound for Driving and Crying and whatever bands came through. But the impetus was me being young and wanting to play and it be in a band with a bunch of guys that I had met around town who were great musicians. And so we started playing bars and festivals. My dad would do our live sound. And then Sony caught wind through someone who introduced my parents to them. And then they ended up coming to, Pat McMakin from Sony at the time ended up coming to Columbia to watch me play with my cover band. Wow. And he said, yeah, let's, and let me also preface, Leanne Rimes had just happened. Leanne Rimes had just hit with her single Blue. She was 13. Yeah. And everyone in town started looking for a teenager for their roster. So I was right place, right time, really.
How old are you then? You're 14?
I was 14.
You're 14. It was about the time, I think, when she hit, when she was 14.
Yeah, yeah. But I said earlier in this episode, it took 30 years to water the seed that ended up turning into what I'm doing now with Kev Mo and Leanne and all the things. Yeah. It was Pat McMakin. Pat McMakin, I owe so much to Pat McMakin. So many career highs have happened because of that man and our friendship, and I'm really, really grateful.
Cherish those relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
It's fantastic. Well, you've got a new song out there right now.
Yeah.
And I want to play it for folks, the track, the actual track that people can listen to. Tell us about this song and the writing of it, and we'll give it a spin.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. So, yes, I wrote, the song is called Bringing Me Home. I wrote it with a friend of mine, a wonderful songwriter and producer named Ann Buckle. And this was actually the first song we wrote together. We met through a sync organization that we're both a part of. And we were like, hey, let's get together and write. And we tried one, and we just caught magic together. And we've now written several other things together. And she's one of my favorite writing partners now.
Wow.
And I think I brought in this idea, but didn't really have it fleshed out fully yet. But the title, Bringing Me Home, and we thought about, what could that mean? And at first it kind of started, okay, maybe this is like a love song about a romantic partner. But then as we started writing, it kind of turned into what if this was actually more of a spiritual type thing? And we really left it vague on purpose so that, maybe people could identify with it differently as they wish, or however it hits them.
That's a cool trick to do, because you leave it in the mind of the listener,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it just, I don't know, it just started to naturally kind of form as what if it's more like, in a spiritual sense, you're being brought home to yourself, And gotcha. So, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's where we left it. So to be determined by the listener.
Something. Let's give it a spin right here on the Songwriter Connection.
I was hiding in the shadows, carried anyway the wind blowed. Let everybody else define me. Didn't think that I could find me anymore. Wasn't lightning in a bottle. Something shifted soft and subtle. Didn't need to keep on running when I saw the sun coming up. Grab my hand and take me higher. I can see you working for me. Now I know what I am worthy of. Oh, your love is bringing me home. Your love
from Lauren Lucas, our guest on the Songwriter Connection. Where did you record that? Where do you do your recording?
Well, these days I'm writing a lot, even Bringing Me Home and Chasing Lightning. Mm-hmm. They were not specifically for any particular brief for a TV or film production, but I'm writing a lot more with that intention, hoping that what rises to the top for me artistically also sometimes can be used for other uses like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm writing a lot with track producers these days. So like Anne, that song was almost done and produced before I left the room that day.
Yeah.
We wrote it. I recorded my vocals before I left, and the background vocals, and then she added a little magic afterwards. She's also a great strings player, and added some of that and mixed it. And
sounds great.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. She's a great producer. So.
Absolutely incredible. So you've been going after that sync market a lot. And there are folks that don't know sync. They put your song into like a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
So that's a market that you're very active in right now.
Yeah, it fits. Again, I'm going to talk about Pat McMakin, but he called me up, 2-3 years ago now, and said, have you heard of this new organization? It's called the SCL, Society for Composers and Lyricists. Wow. So it's like... it's kind of similar to me as NSAI, which I'm a lifetime member of NSAI, by the way. I've served 2 terms on their board. And
fantastic.
I used to do their writing workshops as a young person coming up, learning how to write songs, and all that. And then I ended up serving on the board. And
with the young songwriters that come up to me, I always say, you got to join, first thing. Yeah. Join NSAI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great organization.
And they, they've got some really great opportunities, for writers. So yes. And the SCL is the same way, but it is specifically focused on composers and songwriters who support visual media in what they do.
I got you.
And so the sync world, if you will.
Well, let's talk about you got the theme song right now for Leanne, which is it's a funny show.
It is.
It really is good. Leanne Morgan's so funny. And there's some big stars in that show. Like
yes.
Tim Daly and,
Which, I did not know. I'm realizing I'm about to tell a spoiler. I shouldn't do that.
Maybe not.
I'm not going to say anything other than this. I did not know his sister is Tyne Daly.
Tyne Daly, that's right.
I had no idea.
That's right.
And as a musical theater nerd, I find that incredibly cool.
and Kristen Johnson, too, from Third Rock's in that. And
yes.
So when people watch this, they're going to hear your voice in the theme. So.
Yes. So, again, just such a career highlight and thrill for me to be singing on a Netflix show. Like, how cool is that?
It's just awesome.
So, yeah, we technically wrote, even though it's a very short, 5 or 6 second little piece, it's just her name, but we wrote that melody and harmonized it. And it's me singing and harmonizing with myself. And then at the end, Netflix, they don't show you the credits unless you specifically push the button that says view credits. But if you do,
I'm that kind of nerd. I will.
There you go. Yeah. So if you do happen to push that button and you do view the credits, then you'll hear a longer song where it's reprised at the end as well.
That's great.
And so,
that's fantastic.
Such a thrill. But then this was a new experience for me. I'm also composing the instrumental sections, all the transitional cues between scenes. Wow. That is Kebmo and the team of composers that we're working together composing those instrumental pieces.
Let's talk Kebmo right now. You do a lot of the background vocals on that great album with him and Taj Mahal, right?
Yeah, Room on the Porch. Yeah, that's the album. I'm singing.
You're the BGVs, right?
Yeah, I'm singing on My Darling, My Dear, which is such a sweet song. And then I'm also singing on, I don't know the exact title, but My Life With You Is Better Than Ever. It's a song they wrote with Wendy Moten.
Oh,
and Wendy and I are singing the background vocals on that one too.
Wendy was here not too long ago. We did a show with her. And
sweet!
Friends with Women Behind the Lyrics.
Yes, yes. I noticed that on the episode list. Yeah, she's fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got to work with her too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I've known her for years, not well, kind of more peripherally, but then our paths have crossed several times in the recent, past year or two.
Wow, incredible, wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to go back and talk a little bit about when you were coming up and first coming to Nashville, the lessons that you learned that you can maybe pass on to other folks. One of the things that strikes me, you talked about chasing the lightning and just going for it. I remember a story you told about playing music for like a label head, and I think it was RCA. You went into the label and actually got to sit down and play for him.
Yeah, well, I did that several times. So I was kind of, did the dog and pony show around town, so that
just doesn't happen.
I guess not. But I was ushered in by the people who were producing me, and they had the relationships. Although I will say, after I left Warner, and I probably had already made the If I Was Your Girl EP and had released that, I think, I ended up knowing someone at Capitol in the A&R department.
Okay.
And called them up and asked if I could come play for, at the time, Mike Dungan, who was the head of Capitol. And I just went in myself with my guitar, and they gave me the meeting, and I played, and it did not turn into anything, of course. But I look back and I go, like, on one hand, wow, that was chutzpah right there. Like, whoa, Absolutely. That was chasing lightning at an early age. But also, like, how... Of course that didn't work. Like, I don't know. It's just, you need a team around you, and someone kind of speaking on your behalf. I think it just is so helpful. And a plan, go in with a plan. And I had no plan.
You had no plan? No? None?
Well, my plan was like me and make me a star. That was my plan, and that's like the no plan. So.
What I wanted to ask you was your first Nashville co-write. Tell us about do you remember who it was?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember how it went?
Yes. So my first...
people that listen to this, they don't realize how important co-writing is here in this town.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do in this town.
That's right.
And a lot of folks will come in, I just write by myself. I don't. But co-writing is important, isn't it?
It really is. I think for a lot of reasons. Now, let me preface and say, I think writing on your own and by yourself is also important for finding your voice and figuring out the craft and saying exactly what it is that you want to say the way you want to say it. I think that's also important. But I think both are important. And so on a creative level, it's important because, the brain power, you get more than, you get 2 or 3 brains in the room.
Right.
And different perspectives. And you really can come up with something you never would have come up with on your own.
That's true.
And then on a business side, if that's what you're, interested in, there's an efficiency level of co-writing.
Exactly.
And there's also the power of now you have more than one team helping you. You have maybe 3 different teams if you're with publishers or with sync agents or whatever it is, helping you exploit that song and getting it out there. And there's a lot of benefit to it, I think.
It's not just you are pushing it now, but the other co-writers are.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Plus the networking, the organic networking that's just innate in that process is you're writing with 1 or 2 other people who they know a ton of people and you know a ton of people, and the next thing you know you're invited to play a writer's round, and then you're introduced to one of their friends, and now you're writing songs with them and another person, and you just expand your network exponentially.
Yeah, and it really does grow like that.
That's right, and really actually quite quickly if you just kind of get in the mix, And
you find your tribe. It's kind of like dating at first, You see, sometimes it don't work.
Yeah,
you sit down and you do a lot of co-staring and nothing comes of it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And then sometimes that magic just hits, and when that does, and you find a tribe like that, and you may have different tribes. You may have like 3 or 4 or 5 different, people that that you could go to and get in that room, and you're going to come up with something that day. So it's important. I had one person that listens to the show in Ireland. He started his own songwriting group where they are, and they're co-writing and doing things today. And I think that's so great. And no matter where you're listening from, you can do that. Get some like-minded people that are into the craft and meet. Find a little place that you could play.
Yeah.
We had this little place in Cincinnati called the Historic Claremont Inn. And every Thursday we would do we kind of thought we were like Bluebird.
Yeah.
We would do the Bluebird thing. We put a lamp. We bought this lamp with a shade. We put it in the center. We'd all be around it. We had a little Bose system, and we just swapped songs.
Love
it.
Did
it every week.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you could do, right?
Yes. And there also, sometimes groups will get together and they will throw out a prompt, and the whole group will, like a little writing party, and the whole group will write individually to that same prompt and then share what they wrote. I think that sounds really fun.
That is a great idea. Do that, folks. Do that. And when you talk about that and you get a weird idea, or an idea that just clicks with you, don't write the first thing. Sometimes the first thing is great.
Yeah.
But examine it, twist it, find out, how can you, like when you were talking about that a little bit ago with the song that you wrote,
Bringing Me Home. Yeah.
Bringing Me Home. How do you approach that? Are there other ways to approach it?
That's right.
Because as a songwriter, I think it's really important to find a way. You want the listener to go, I never thought of it that way before.
Yeah.
Or, boy, that's my life you just wrote.
That's right.
Right?
I really do think that is our biggest job is to write something where the listener goes, oh, me too.
Me too. Do you remember your first Me Too moment?
I'm sure I had some before this, but the thing that's coming to mind right now, there is a folk, I don't know, folk pop, if that's a thing, maybe, artist, songwriter named Jonathan Brooke. She's from Boston.
Wow.
And she now lives in Minneapolis. But I became a fan of hers in college, actually. Okay, it's coming back to me. So I took a songwriting class at Belmont, and there was a guy in that class who went on and on. He would not stop talking about this girl named Jonathan Brooke. And I finally started listening to her music, and I just fell in love with it. And there is a Lightning 100, that's a AAA station here in Nashville.
Yep.
They were playing a song of hers called Linger. And there's a line, what does she say? I was walking past the sprinklers and the newly painted porches and the lemonade stand girls on a suburban afternoon. Wow. I am leaving 'cause I love you. I am leaving 'cause I don't. And I'm hoping you will follow, and I'm praying that you won't let me go. And I don't know, there's just something about like the imagery and the juxtaposition of like, I want you to love me, but I want you to leave me alone. And all the things. It just, of course, I was in college, so I was very angsty and, having my first relationships and all that stuff too. But at any rate, it just really spoke to me.
Wow.
So that's what's coming to mind when you ask.
That's great.
The Me Too, light bulb.
Appreciate it.
One more thing, sorry. But this is a songwriter podcast, and I will nerd out on some songwriting.
Please.
There is a line, and I don't even remember the name of the song. I need to look it up. But Joe Diffie, I loved Joe Diffie growing up. And he, on whatever record it was that he had, Third Rock from the Sun, there is another song that's a ballad on that record. And there is a line that said, whatever the line was before it, I don't remember, but it led into the words, in a neighborhood that smelled like dinner. And I just go in my mind to being a child in my backyard on the tire swing.
Yep.
I can see the sky from the fence line of my backyard, and it just puts you right there in a neighborhood that smells like dinner. As a suburban kid, like that, just always, like I can still remember it. And gosh, that's been well over 20 years ago since I even heard that song.
Use your senses in the songs. They're powerful. Smells. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Just amazing. Do you do that right now? If you don't, there's your assignment.
There you go. Put a smell in a song.
Put a smell in a song. Would you pick up that guitar and play us one more? We got time for one more really cool song and the story behind it. Lauren Lucas is our guest today. We are just so thrilled to have her on the show today.
Oh, well, thank you.
Sony Tree. That must have been I think about Tree Publishing. All the great ones came out of there, like Bobby Braddock.
Yes.
Man.
Yep. And Tom Douglas. I mentioned.
Yes.
We were there at the same time, and for wildly different reasons. He was actually an amazing songwriter, even back then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was just learning, but. Sorry, I do need to tune for
while
a
you're
second.
tuning, I'll just say one of my favorite parts of that interview with him. He talked about the little rat that jumps up on his piano and tells him, you can't do this. You are terrible. Imposter syndrome. And we all go through that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Does it happen to you? And what do you do? How do you fight that?
Yes, it happens to me. All the time. And even it happened the other night. I was playing at Chief's downtown on Broadway, and I'm looking at my list of songs that was a songwriter round, and I'm looking at all the songs I had planned to potentially play that night. And I'm like, none of these are good enough. I don't want to play any of these. And I'm next, which one am I going to pick?
Wow.
But it does. It happens. But I don't know. There's no trick. You just keep going.
Just go.
And I will also say, the more music I've created and the more music I've released in the world, you do become a little less precious about it when you realize if you really love this, you're going to write 100 more songs. It does not all hinge on this one.
That's right.
And I remind myself of that every time I release new music. It's every single release or EP release. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to put this thing out there. And then I go, it actually doesn't matter, Lauren. You know what I mean? Like it does, but it also doesn't. You know, it's like, it is not, this is what I think is actually cool. It really is just a little timestamp in where I am in my life right now. And it's just documenting my life.
That's
and
so true.
If it's not the best thing ever, it's okay. It's documenting that, you know, and then maybe the next thing will be cooler, or maybe it will be the coolest thing, and maybe I won't be as cool next time. None of it really matters. It's just a documentation of witnessing of your life.
That is such a valuable piece of advice right there. I'm going through that right now. And that just touched my heart when you said that. Oh. It's so true. Because so many times you work so hard on the song, writing it, and then it's out there and you're working it up and you're playing it and you're getting good. And then all of a sudden you decide to record it, and that's a process. And then there's the mixing and the mastering, and then you decide to release it. By the time that comes about, you've written another 80, 90 songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look back and I look back and I go, yeah, I don't know if that's good enough. I got so many other ones now.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
It's just
That's
so
true.
weird.
Yeah.
But you just power through.
You just power through. And when I did start to realize, like, oh, this is just a documentation of my life and where I am right now, and I'm going to be different in another day, and then another month, and then certainly another year.
Yeah.
It kind of just took the pressure off a little.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Tell us about this song, and then we're going to take it out.
Okay. Well, you mentioned this song earlier, and again, I'm going to loop it back around to Pat McMakin. After years, you know, he produced some sides on me, again, when I was a teenager. And then probably in 2018 or so, I called him up. I mean, we had stayed friends all those years, but I called him up. I was like, Pat, why have we not worked together? Like, why aren't we making music still? You know, like, I know we go to coffee and we'll go have Indian food every now and again, but like, let's make some music. So I asked if he would produce something on me, and it's this song I wrote with Jay Knowles. You had mentioned it earlier. It's called Go Home, Paul. And song. I released it. I think I released it in 2019 as a single. Yeah. I mean, I know I released it, but I think 2019 is the year. And
BC. That's before COVID.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. And this is a song that somehow just, especially at writers' rounds, like in an intimate room like the Bluebird or something like that, you can't play it for big rowdy crowds. It's not that kind of song. It's an intimate song. Yeah. And so it rose to the top for me artistically, and I still love playing it. And so it's about a relationship that is convenient, but not the one. And the singer is finally brave enough to say, all right, we got to stop this. This is not the right thing. Wow. So here's Go Home, Paul.
All right.
Go home, Paul. It's not your fault. I never should have called. Never should have told you to come over. It's way too late. Please don't stay, 'cause all that it would take is for you to take one step closer. Oh, and we already know how it's gonna end, but I pick up the phone and here we go again. So go before I start trying to believe in something that never will be. At 2 a.m. No two friends share a glass of wine, then fall asleep on each other's shoulder. Oh, and we already know how it's gonna end, but I pick up the phone and And here we go again. So go before I start trying to believe in something that never will be. Go home, Paul, and I won't call you. Not until I'm sure, not until I know, not till I believe I can let you go. Go home, Paul.
Oh, that's a good song. So good.
Thank you.
Lauren, thank you so much for coming all this way and being on our show, sitting around the dining room table.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
It's good to get to know you. Where can people find you out there?
Oh, laurenlucas.com is probably the best place. You'll find all my socials, music, all the things. And actually, I have something that I call the inner listening room. And so I would imagine your listeners probably geek out over songwriting and like to hear kind of the story behind the song and maybe early demos and that kind of stuff. Cool. And that's pretty much what it is. It's just this inner listening room space where they can hear some of my cuts and the original work tapes before they were released, some of the stories behind them, songs that even my mom hasn't heard that's like deep cuts from my catalog, or not cuts, but just work tapes. So if that's something of interest, that's on my website too. And then Lauren Lucas Music is my handle on all the socials.
Great. Lauren, thank you so much. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Likewise.
continued success.
Thanks.
Right on, folks. WRITE.
That's a wrap from the dining room table. Thanks for joining the conversation and chasing the music with us. From Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Songwriter Connection, the award-winning elite music podcast of the year, connecting the songs and the people who write them.